Hey, so we're here checking out Indianapolis. Yeah, one of the things we love to do in addition to like going to campsites is like just checking out these smaller cities and seeing what they have to offer. We're here at like a pretty big park. I'll show you, let me show you around the park, like in the middle of like a neighborhood. And we're here for like, we're here at to check out this monument. It's called the Landmark for Peace. And so I'm gonna just walk up closer so you can see. I'll let you try to figure out what exactly we're looking at before telling you. All right, so if you can see, this is Martin Luther King Jr. on your left, and this is Robert Kennedy on your right, both men that were assassinated. And this is called the Landmark for Peace. So it's a real interesting outdoor exhibit. You can see it's pretty tall. I'm walking under it now. So yeah, it's lovely. Okay. And so you can take a walk with us. There's a center here. We're not sure if it's open. We're gonna walk that way to see. But yeah, the more we go to like these smaller cities, yeah, there's just so much like beautiful like monuments and art that you just don't know about, and then you come to these places and there's like no one here. Yeah, it's just really like, what do you call it? Like taken for granted, or like it's just, yeah, it's unfortunate. Like it's most of the time it's free. Most of the time it's beautiful. Most of the time it lets you make you think about things. But no one knows about it. So, yeah, so let me turn this around so you can see what there's like a placard here that we're gonna go check out. And here's a center with a big mural. And again, I think this is
Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah. Let's see if this place is open. It looks pretty closed. It's a Sunday. Happy Sunday. Yeah. I see some lights on. We'll walk around. Yeah, this is just a real interesting place. They got like little chess tables here. Yeah, I don't know if this is a building. Yeah, it's closed. But if you could see, there's like all these flowers in bloom. Really pretty place. So you're getting a little bit of history. You're outdoors and nature. You're getting that little smaller town living. My cup of tea.
Yeah.
What?
Yes and no.
What?
It's like we're just saying, this is some very revisionist history. Not exactly how things went down. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's interesting, an interesting take on the relationship
Yeah.
between King and Kennedy.
Here's what Mike is talking about. This is one of the things that had us laughing a little bit. It's this little monument here, and you can see like there are guns embedded in the concrete. So
It's supposed to commemorate the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., but somehow they connected that to black on black violence in the community. And so it's just like one of those things where we,
when you look at the words, it starts off okay. And they talking about, like Robert Kennedy remarks on after, MLK was assassinated. And then I'm going to read the last sentence that just made us both shake our head. This marker, built with the remains of guns collected and then destroyed, and a community-based effort to stop the violence in our neighborhoods, stand in memory of that historical moment. And I guess for me, it's just like, we're talking about the topic. Okay, you could go.
Yeah, I was talking about the political assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., but somehow the resolution is guns in the neighborhood or black on black violence, and somehow they're conflated when they are two important issues, but it's almost like the latter is the violence in the neighborhood is now being pointed to as the cause of Martin Luther King Jr. being shot and killed, which is
and it's a long-standing, enduring talking point. Like, it happens all the time. Like, even like a loved one recently, I was saying a few weeks ago, said this to me, like, like I was what was I talking about? Like police brutality, and she wanted to talk about like, oh, but what about what crime that like black people do to each other, like black people murdering each other. And I'm like, yes, it is all wrong, but every time you talk about something systemic, so in this particular case, right, you're talking about Martin Luther King getting assassinated because of racist ideology in this country, and then immediately you want to say, but what about black on black crime? Like what about community crime? Like, okay, we can have that conversation, but you can't try to reduce or sabotage a different conversation in order to have that conversation, which happens all of the time. If you want to talk about community violence, let us talk about community violence, but let us talk about that separately. Don't try to like connect that or, replace a larger conversation about what black people have to face simply because people are upset with the color of their skin and what they think that means for people's character.
I mean, I think also if you're going to talk about the two, then we should talk about the link between the two, which is systemic racism still. Like there's a direct link between, the economics and like the increase of crime, that crime rises consistent with the poverty rate. And then also, like there is a racist slant to talk about black on black violence, because in most cases where violent crimes take place, it takes place within the community, and the US is still very much a segregated space. So you don't hear talk about white on white violence, but you do hear talk about black on black violence when it's really just a matter of crimes are committed within proximity of where people are. And so yes, you're going to have more black people committing acts of violence in black neighborhoods because that's where people are. The same thing, you're going to have more white people committing violence in white neighborhoods because that's where people are. And so it is a misdirection is what it is.
It's a misdirection.
Yeah. And it's typically not done in good faith.
Yeah.
It's usually done to draw you away from the topic that's being discussed.
Yeah, it's very bad faith. And I hear it a lot, and it's just kind of like, okay. But I mean, okay, so I mean, this is, I don't know, I love the fact that we're out in the sun. We're in this beautiful area. With this beautiful quote from Robert Kennedy. Well, it's beautiful, but it's also a little ambiguous, but it's still beautiful words. And just look at the flowers. We're in the sun. And Mike and I talk and have these great conversations, and Yeah, so I'm glad. I hope you're enjoying experiencing this with us. So we'll show you the next thing. Is there anything else you wanted to say? I know you had some words about this quote over here that I just showed everyone. We're right in front of it.
No, it's just like you say, it's just ambiguous. It doesn't really. It's words. People say words.
People
Like,
do say words all the
so like
time.
it's one of those cases where you say words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what it is? And I get it. It's like you want people to understand you, but you don't want to offend them. And you spend so much time trying to cultivate the right words that won't offend people because you think like they'll receive it if you can just not offend. But at the end of the day, you end up usually just saying flowery things that
Yeah.
mean nothing.
I think,
It's
yeah.
just, I guess
And I
it's
think
PC, I guess.
yeah, but I think sometimes it's just outright lying too. It's just
Oh,
political, like let's calm the masses who are outraged in this moment, because
oh
the
yeah,
context
I
is
see that.
after Martin Luther King Jr. being killed. So it's an attempt to calm the rage that people are feeling.
Yeah, I think like when it's when it's from the state and it's like politicians. Yeah, I guess I was talking more about person to
Yeah, like
person.
generally, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean I engage in these conversations a lot, and I can see people are just really struggling, and I struggle too with the words that I'm trying to say, because what good is saying something if someone can't receive it? So, but then you have to decide they can't, whether they are acting in good faith and
Yeah.
that they are even trying to receive it in the first place. So I
Yeah.
will try to have the conversation, and when it's clear to me, it's like they're not trying to do any sort of deep thinking.
Yeah.
And they
And
just, like they just want to feel their feels, feel their negative feels, then I
yeah.
kind of just will let it
And
go.
at some point, if you're looking to adjust what you're saying, at some point you lose what it is that you were you were saying. So you can only adjust so much, and clearly communicate. So people have to be open to receive, what it is you're communicating. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Mike is gonna say what he gonna say. Me, I will try to like see what the other person, like how the other person is receiving, and try to like work. But that's one of the things that I like. I like Mike. Just he's either gonna say it to you, or and think you're if he doesn't think you're gonna receive it, he won't say anything. He won't say it at all. Right? Is that
Yeah,
fair?
I mean, it depends on who it is. I mean, is there any actual intent to build a relationship, or is it just someone who, it just be an argument and then you never see that person again, or it's not. Is it worth the energy? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So happy Sunday. I mean, we usually, every once in a while, we do these like energy out walks on Sunday, because Mike and I, when we're home, we take these walks. But we're in Indianapolis, so I guess you're taking this walk with us in a
Yeah.
different park. A little bit of I guess, like a political walk, an outdoor political walk. So I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, bye. So we're just getting the day started. Morning. And we're still just kind of chilling in the car. But as I often do, I woke up Mike with things with additional thoughts on some other conversation we were having, and I was just thinking about our conversation yesterday at the monument, at the MLK and Robert Kennedy monument, and I was just thinking about the phrase "white on black crime." And I never heard that phrase, but I was like, that's actually exactly what the issue is. Like, whenever, you know what I'm saying? Like, Martin Luther King and a lot of black leaders were killed because they were black, and they were killed by white people. And so it was crime because of their race. So it was white on black crime. But as people are so uncomfortable talking about white on black crime, that it's like, no, 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 you know what, let's talk about black on black crime.
Yeah, and it's like, if when you say black on black crime, you're racializing the phenomenon, but it is not a racial phenomenon. Um, and when you don't say like something like white on black crime, then you are deracializing a phenomenon which actually is racial. It is because these people are black that they are being subjected to that kind of violence. Whereas with black on the so-called black on black crime, the black on black is added to push the narrative that black people are criminal, essentially. That there's something unique about black people that makes us commit crimes, when actually the crimes are typically, it's more so an economic problem. It's crimes of opportunity, and it's also, crimes that are related to like like structural barriers that are put within the black community.
Yeah, so like it's like, black people aren't killing black people because they're black, right? Just like no one says that white people are killing white people because they're white. They're like it's like crimes of convenience, crime of opportunity. It's like you're living in the same community and therefore you're trying to get something in these wrong ways, these very wrong ways, but it's not racialized. But somehow when it comes to black people, it's racialized and it's disconnected from all of the other reasons why those things might occur. Like systemic barriers, poverty rate, all of these other things. Yeah, so I mean, did you have any additional thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what we're spending our morning discussing, and wanted to share it with you. All right, we hope you enjoy the rest of the day. We're super excited. Today is the solar eclipse. I'll probably post that later this week, our experience with that. But so far, we're enjoying and loving Indianapolis, and we hope you like what we're sharing. Bye.